Hi, my name is Marisol Lopez, and I am your second grade math virtual content specialist. Think of me as your teacher's helper. In this video, you will learn about arrays and repeated addition. Make sure you have a piece of scrap paper and a pencil handy so that you can practice with me. You will show your work to your teacher. In this lesson, we are going to keep this question in mind. How can arrays help to find the total in a set of objects? Anytime you see this icon with the little pencil in a light blue box, you are going to write your responses there in the lesson. Before we begin answering our focus question, we need to first get familiar with what an array is. An array is a group of objects or pictures that are arranged in rows and columns. How do you know the difference between rows and columns? Well, I will help you recognize the difference between the two. Let's look at this array. It has dump trucks. Rows go across. Columns go up and down. What is the difference between a group of objects and an array? Well, groups of objects are not always neatly arranged into rows and columns, whereas an array is always neatly arranged into rows and columns. The dump trucks on the left are grouped into two groups of 3 trucks. The dump trucks on the right are grouped into an array of 2 columns of 3 trucks, or 3 rows of 2 trucks. Let's look at today's lesson. I will help you answer these questions. Let's practice what we just learned about groups and arrays on this slide. Look at the bears at the top. First question, how many bears are in each group? Well, remember what we learned in the previous slide, that groups are objects that are together but are not neatly arranged in rows and columns. Second question says, how many groups are there? And the last question says, how many bears all together, and how do you know? I'll give you 15 seconds to answer these questions. Then I will discuss my answers with you. All right, time's up. How did you do? I see 2 groups at the top of this slide and 3 bears in each group. Did you see the same thing? The last question asks, how many bears altogether? How do you know? For this question, I am putting down 6 as my answer because I counted them. If you're like me, you probably counted all of the bears to figure out how many bears there were in all. And that is okay for now. What if I told you there was another way to find the total number of bears? At times, the number of objects in an array can be so large that it'll take a really long time to count them all by one. The strategy I'm going to teach you is called repeated addition. Repeated addition is when you add the same number of objects multiple times. For example, if we look at the groups of bears that we counted on the previous slide, we will notice that there are 2 groups of 3. We can write that as a repeated addition equation of 3 plus 3 equals 6. If we look at the array of the dump trucks, we see 3 rows of 2 dump trucks. That means we are adding the number 2 3 times. Remember, rows go across. Let's try to write a different repeated addition equation for the dump trucks array. You will need your paper and pencil this time. When we looked at the array earlier, we were focusing on the rows of the array. So we were looking at it from left to right. This time we will look at the columns, which go up and down. I will wait 15 seconds for you to try, and then I will tell you my repeated addition equation, and we'll see if our equations match. Begin. All right, time's up. My repeated addition equation for this array is 3 plus 3 equals 6. Is that yours also? If you have the same as me, you can give yourself a pat on the shoulder and say, "Good job." I think you're making excellent progress. Let's try drawing an array and writing a repeated addition equation from information given in a word problem. Let's read the word problem together. It was a busy morning in the supermarket. There were 3 checkout lanes open and 5 people waiting in line at each register. How many customers were waiting all together to check out in the supermarket? Hmm. You have 30 seconds to draw an array and write a repeated addition equation. You do not need to draw stick figures for the people standing in line. Drawing circles works just fine as well. Okay, you may begin. Okay, time's up. Let's review. If you drew an array with 3 rows of 5 circles or 3 columns of 5, either of those is correct. What will change is that you will have different repeated addition equations. Either way, we will have an answer of 15 total customers waiting to check out at the supermarket. So these are your 2 possible answers. 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 15, or 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 15. Let's go back to our focus question. How can arrays help to find the total of a set of objects? I have learned that arrays help us see the objects arranged neatly in rows and columns, and that helps us quickly add the objects instead of having to count them one at a time. We can add them in groups. Writing repeated addition equations helps us show our mathematical thinking and quickly solve for the total. You did a great job today working with arrays. I hope this video has helped you have a better understanding about arrays. Don't forget to hold on to the work you did with me today so that you can show it to your teacher. Your notes will also help you solve problems involving arrays in the future. I would like you to know that arrays are the first step in learning multiplication, which you will be learning about real soon. Until next time, bye bye.